defined love for us. And in the first place, who put love in our hearts in the first place? Allah. Who put love in our hearts for the first place? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did. And so when someone puts something somewhere, usually they know what the function is, what the characteristics are, how we should look at it, how we should interpret it, because He put it there Himself. Right? So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put that love in our hearts, in our beings, in our existences, then it's always good to go to Allah to ask and to see what is the purpose, what are the characteristics, what are the traits, and what are the benefits. Along with following the book, the Quran, the Kalam of Allah, there's also a second part, right? Something that is complementary, that explains it. They explain each other. That is what? The Sunnah of the Prophet.
Sunday school question. Who created us? Allah. Who puts love in our hearts? Allah. That's it. That's all you have to know. That's all you have to understand. So if Allah is the one that created all of us, He created you and your spouse or your future spouse, inshallah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has put love in your hearts or will put love in your hearts if you're not married yet. Then that means what should you make sure? Who should you maintain a very strong relationship with if you want to maintain love in your marriage and in your spousal relationship? Allah. You gotta stay good with Allah if you want to stay good with your other relationship.
So then, point being made, basically guys and girls cannot be friends. Imam Yasin said it. You have to understand this, especially girls, okay? Those of you who think this way, see, all the guys know it. You guys know this, right? You can make this up and you can try to fool yourself or fool someone else. But girls, trust me, we're men. We're not going to lie to you. Guys and girls cannot be friends unless you guys.
Wise and haram and halal and Allah says and the Prophet says and this doesn't mean nothing to you then. It doesn't. You could be the best of Muslims. You could be the best of religious people. But it doesn't matter then. Because once love takes over the heart, this statement, love blinds, is more correct than what the author of this statement actually realized. Because it totally puts a seal upon the heart, a seal upon the ears, a seal upon the eyes. You just will not listen. The only thing that matters to you is this woman now. And the only thing that matters to her is this man. And it starts to go to stupid levels, where a person is willing to reject his parents and leave the house and run away and leave education and leave the religion. Leave the religion. I mean, I remember last year there was a girl who was brought to my attention that she was, the same thing happened to her, a little bit of contact. She told me all about it. She said, a little bit of contact, give me advice, please. I had to leave home, my parents wouldn't accept it, and I've just realized now that my religion can't help me in this, so I want to become a Christian like him. That's where it goes, that's where it ends up. That's what happens. All from just a small interaction. Don't write off the danger. Do not. Because you will not find a more powerful experience than love itself. You will not. That's why it's so beautiful when it's done with correctly, and that's why it's so deadly when it's abused and not looked after in a correct way.
Attraction. Attraction. Feeling attracted to someone. Right? That is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Now, where do we get this from? So, again, I won't give you any logical proof on my part. I'll follow Hafiz Wisam's lead and just read the book of Allah. Surah number 3, Surah Ali Imran, in the very beginning of the surah, ayah number 14. Allah says, Zuyyina linnasi. Zuyyina linnasi. It has been beautified for the people. It has been made beautiful for the people. It has been made attractive for the people. What has been beautified, what has been made attractive, what has been made appealing for the people? Hubbu shahawat. The love, the desire, the inclination to fulfill your lusts and your desires. Attraction. Hubbu shahawati minan nisa. And not only that, but Allah mentions the opposite gender and the opposite gender, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that feeling attracted to the opposite gender is something that Allah has programmed inside of you. I go as far as saying that, feeling attraction for the opposite gender means that you're okay. It's actually like relief. No, and I know, we're laughing and joking, but seriously, it means that you're happy and you're healthy. Clap your hands. My kids, you don't have kids when I do that, right? But so it means that you're okay. Now, of course, the crux of the conversation is what? What do you do with that? How do you react to that? How do you go about in now trying to fulfill those desires, trying to act on that attraction that you felt? That is what makes you or breaks you, spiritually, in this world and in the next. That's what's going to make you or break you. So of course we go about the appropriate means, and that's where marriage comes into play, right? That's why we've been talking about it.
When it comes to the idea of a love marriage, right? And essentially it's infatuation, as we said. SubhanAllah, you see all of the pleasant things that the other person is putting up as a front, right? You see their best face, and you have no idea what's under that wrapper, right? It's almost like looking at a piece of chocolate that's wrapped up with a nice wrapper, not knowing what the ingredients are, not knowing where it came from, not knowing anything about it, and saying, I want that one. Just because of the wrapper, right? And then SubhanAllah, the first night, after the first night that you get married, and after all that stuff has happened, you've already experienced the positive aspects. You've already experienced the joy of love and the joy of going out together, and the joy of this first time and that first time. The first time we held hands, the first time we shared a smoothie, the first time we went to the movies together, the first time this, the first time that. And then marriage comes, and all marriage is a bundle of responsibility. And you are going to regret that marriage for the rest of your life. You're going to hate yourself. SubhanAllah. What happened? That front is not there anymore. You're seeing the person for who they are. All the makeup is gone. Right? Makeup's not there anymore. Now you've got white cream everywhere. Right? And Winnie the Pooh, PJs and stuff like that. Like now you've got, what happened? Where did it all go? That's not what I signed up for. It was all the fronts. It was all the fronts. Right? And infatuation is the key. SubhanAllah. What does Islam give us in return? Because SubhanAllah, had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala demanded us to be monks, right? To live celibate lifestyles, it would be very tough for us. Everything that Allah gives us, everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided in this life that offers joy through a haram avenue, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided a halal alternative. There is nothing in this life except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a halal alternative, and that's purely from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So here's something we should be grateful for, that Allah made us creatures that look to get married and thus complete our other half. That is something we should be grateful to Allah for. When you are grateful to Allah for a favor, then you don't abuse that favor. If somebody gives you food, if your parents provide you food, if your employer provides you a paycheck, you get a gift, you get some compensation from somebody, you don't disrespect it. You show respect. If it's worth something to you, you'll respect it, you'll honor it. If this gift has been given to us by Allah, marriage is a gift from Allah, then we have to honor it, not because we have respect for our spouse first, but because we have respect for Allah. As a result of that, we have respect for the institution of marriage. First and foremost, for married people here. Secondly, for the unmarried in the audience who are thinking about getting married and honestly mostly have no idea what they're talking about or getting into. They don't have a clue. We don't have good marriage orientation in the Muslim community. We really don't. This is the first thing I wanted to add, to start off this conversation. The second thing, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. The lam is called lam as-sababiyya, lam al-illah. I did this for you, and then Allah answers the question, why did I do this for you? If somebody's wondering, why would I want to be with another? Why would I want to be with somebody else? I'm perfectly fine by myself. Allah gives a reason in the same ayah that He says, this is a favor to you, I made your second half. He says, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. Some of you read Quran, hopefully all of you. What's a sukoon? What's a sukoon? Give me an English word. What's a sukoon? When you stop. When you stop. Second, in Arabic, in sukoon, you're moving around and finally you stop. Now I told you the Arabic language is full of imagery, and the Quran also is full of imagery. Movement in the language is associated with disturbance. When something is moving, it is not at rest, meaning it's not in peace. That's also true in the English language. When an object stops moving, we call it an object at rest. The idea is that it's at peace. Well, what Allah tells us is, I gave you a spouse because you're going to move around in the day. You're going to do all kinds of things. You're going to be thinking about all kinds of things. Your mind will not be at rest. Your heart will not be at rest. Your body will not be at rest. But when you come home to your spouse, finally everything can stop and you can relax. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you can find peace and tranquility and calm in them. The ilayha is interesting because it refers to both men and women. It's for the plural. In other words, the wife will find her peace in her husband, and the husband will find his peace in his wife. Don't say, yeah, right, just yet. That is the purpose of marriage. According to Allah, I gave you this gift, and when you look at a gift, you don't know what does it do? Let me unpackage it. What does it do for me? You know, Allah tells us, when you unpackage this gift, here's what it does. It gives you peace. You will find peace in your spouse, and they will find peace in you.
And you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us something that's hard? Ask the people that have been through relationships. That's a hell. That's Jahim al-Rur. To invest emotionally, to invest yourself emotionally into something that's not even going to give you anything at the end of the day. To tell someone your secrets, to trust somebody, you know, and the extent of the trust, Allah Ta'ala alam, how far it goes sometimes, right? You trust them with your secrets, you trust them, you say, I want to be with you for the rest of my life. You trust them with parts of your body, right? I've had many times, subhanAllah, in my 6 years as being Imam, I retired, alhamdulillah, I hung my thobe up in the masjid. This is all you now. Now, subhanAllah. So I had so many situations, religious MSA kids that were like all into it, right? And the sister who wears hijab and jilbab says, well, we Skype, and I decided I can take off my hijab in front of him on Skype. I just take off my hijab, because I know I'm going to marry him. I know I'm going to marry him. It never happens. Never happens. Why? Because there's no barakah in it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It always falls apart. It always falls apart. That's a hell. That's punishment in this world. To go through relationship after relationship after relationship, and every time you get in a relationship, you know what? A piece of you dies. Capacity to love dies. Capacity to trust, a piece of that goes away. Right? Your emotion, all of it, it gets lower and lower and lower and lower. Your expectations, they only rise. Because you're seeing more and more and more flaws. Right? SubhanAllah, you know, when you get married, for a person's wealth, for their status, for their beauty, or for their deen, فَاظْفِرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرِبَتْ يَدَاكَ. Choose deen, or else, you know, may your hands be covered in dust. Meaning, it's permissible. Look, you can get married to a person because you like the way they look. It's halal, but it's not smart. It's not smart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you that option. It's from the mu'amalat. From a fiqhi perspective, as long as you fulfill the requirements of marriage from both sides, if you decided to pursue a person for their beauty, it's halal. It's just not wise. It's not smart. Because that's not something that's going to last. The looks will go, and then you'll have to deal with the other stuff. And the other stuff might not be so pleasant. And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is protecting us from is having our rationale slanted, our thinking slanted. No one of you can tell me that dating does not make them biased and does not make them make an uninformed decision. Marriage is a lifetime commitment. This is the person that's going to be the other parent of your children. This is the person that's going to come. This is the person you're going to confide in. This is the person when you go through financial difficulty. The economy is only getting worse. And trust me, you will go through financial difficulty at least once in your life. You will. Right? This is the person that you're going to have to lean on for support. This is the person you're going to have to lean on whenever you get betrayed on the outside. And if you're not making a rational and informed decision whenever you get married, then you're just like that person who's basically willing to eat a piece of chocolate just because they like the way the wrapper looks. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to make the best decision. Why? And let me tell you what. A lot of times we go into a relationship with the whole halal cover because shaitan deceives us. Shaitan makes things seem halal, right? At least we're not doing this, at least we're not doing that, but we're going to get married, but we only talk about deen, here and there. SubhanAllah, Shaitan deceives us and he deludes us. But let me tell you what happens, right? Here's what I've dealt with a million times, and I'm sure Imam Yasin will say the same thing. Whenever you say, but I like her for her religion too. She's a religious person. Or he's a good brother, right? It's not just that. But why do you think he's religious, right? Why do you think she's religious? What caused you to have a biased view at this point? Let me tell you something. If you already want to marry someone for other reasons, you will make that person out to be religious, even if they're not religious. You know, mashallah, she's so good. Why is she so good? She listens to Surah Al-Rahman every night. Mashallah. You know, you ignore all the other stuff. Mashallah. He's such a good brother. He's so religious. Why is he so religious? Mashallah, he prays 5 times a day. Sahabi. You'll make him out to be whatever you want him to be, because you already want him. Your decision making has been slanted, and you're about to make the most important decision of your life, and it's biased and it's crooked. Why? Because you allowed your infatuation to cloud your rationale, your judgments. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want us to do that. Essentially, you know, some people say, well, does that mean, you know, we go all for arranged marriages, right? You know, it's funny, whenever the older generation, no offense, I told you I'm targeting one demographic, right? Whenever brothers and sisters brag, you know, Beta, I never saw your mother before we got married. Not once. I didn't know how she looked. That's not going to work right now. It's just not going to work. Okay? And it's not the sunnah. It's not from the sunnah. Right? The Prophet ﷺ, he gave permission. You go and you look, right? Not without hijab. I don't know where we've got this idea now that women can take off their hijab when they're being considered for marriage. Right? SubhanAllah. Not without hijab. You look at the person, right? You look at their face. You know, you get to know one another. Fine. In a halal way. I'll talk about what that means exactly, unless I get that 5-minute card or time up. But those things are factors in the marriage. They're factors in the marriage. But what do you look for first? What is the basis for your pursuit of a person? Deen. So we have to support our youth, inshallah ta'ala, in getting married. And yes, getting married young is from the sunnah. Getting married young is from the sunnah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the person who gets married to protect themselves has a right upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be supported. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a $500,000 making, you know, doctor somewhere. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of the universe. And the person who tries to protect themselves for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and goes out, you know, to seeking marriage, the halal way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guaranteed them that He will help. So we have to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also as parents. Every single person who has deen is going to be compatible with you. But the basis of your looking at a person in the first place is deen, what it's made of. Then you want to know where it came from. إِذَا أَتَاكَ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ. If someone, Rasulullah ﷺ actually gave us 2 criteria, by the way, for looking for a person, considering a person. Deen and character. Deen and character. The inner beauty of a person. The way that person acts. The way that person treats people. Right? All of that is considered in khuluq. Because you know what? There are people that have religion. They wear religion on their sleeves, but their character is terrible. They have no character whatsoever. They're rude. They don't smile at people. They're not, you know, they're shady with their business.
First of all, most people that get married don't see themselves as part of a half. Part of a half of a pair. They don't see themselves. They see themselves as a person who has their own life, their own priorities, their own love, their own hate, their own hobbies, their own habits. And here's another person with their own life, and I'm going to try to get from them everything I want for myself. And they're always trying to get from me what they want from themselves. There's 2 selfish people come together. They didn't really become zawj. They didn't really come together as 2 halves. They're actually 2 holes. And that leaves a hole in the middle, by the way. Right? That leaves a gap in between the marriage. Mentally, you're not thinking of yourself as someone who's going to give themselves, half of themselves up for somebody else. Literally, if you only have half, the other half is somebody else's, right? That's what married life is. You got to give up half the stuff you want to do. And you have to replace it with what she wants to do. And you too, you have to give up half the stuff you want to do. And you have to give it up for what he wants to do. He gives up half, you give up half. That's how it works. That's zawaj. That's marriage.